Hello and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. Each weekend, we walk you through the headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest. Let's get started with one of the biggest news stories of the past few days.
What should have been a routine package delivery ends in an almost $10,000 vet bill. Just as a warning, the video we are about to show you is disturbing.
I understand the reaction. I don't understand the overreaction.
Joe Hickey's dog Rocky is hopping around on 3 legs after an Amazon driver slammed him into the ground Sunday afternoon.
I was home. I was right here where we're standing in the backyard. I was doing yard work. My wife was in the house.
Hickey says his wife told him something happened between the delivery person and Rocky.
I was totally in shock.
But when you saw it, how did it make you feel?
Oh, totally distressed. I mean, I've been taking sleep aids now for 2 nights just to try to get to sleep at night.
Rocky has scrapes on his stomach, a broken left ankle, and a possible dislocated joint. Hickey says since the incident, he's noticed a 180 shift in Rocky's behavior.
He's scared of strangers now. He's healing, kinda. He's on pain medications every 24 hours.
Rathdrum Police Department confirmed that a police report was made following the incident. We chose to blur the driver's face because they are not facing any charges. I did also reach out to Amazon's incident response team to get a statement or more information about the driver and his current employment status. At this time, they have not gotten back to me. Hickey says by sharing this story, he doesn't want to bash Amazon or the driver. He just wants to make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else. Right now, he says he's focused on Rocky's recovery. Hickey says Rocky's surgery is scheduled for next week. In Rathdrum, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, here in the area of South Union Road and 16th Avenue, Spokane County Sheriff's Office tell me that a 17-year-old teen reported to be in crisis and was making statements of self-harm. That's when that teen stood in front of a car that was traveling along 16th Avenue, forcing the driver to stop.
The shooting happened around 8 p.m. last night. The sheriff's office states the car had 3 people inside. The 17-year-old then entered the car. The driver, who officials say was armed, got him to exit the car. Then the confrontation escalated. Shortly after, the driver shot the teen. Neighbors who live right next to the scene say they were shaken up. One found a bullet hole in their home siding and thought the commotion was their food delivery order. Another neighbor told us there was a large police presence into the early hours of Thursday morning.
The Spokane County Sheriff's Office has not released the identity of that 17-year-old teen, and they also say at this time there's no active threat to the public. We will continue to report as more information becomes available. For now, I'm reporting in Spokane Valley. Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Tessa Shaw and her family are now looking for a new place to call home after a porch fire destroyed the duplex that they were living in here on the corner of Lacey and Sanson Monday afternoon.
I got a call from my middle child, and she was frantic and said that the house was on fire.
2 porch fires in the span of 14 hours caused 17 people, 3 of which are children, to be displaced.
You'd never think that that would happen, and it did happen, so.
Tessa Shaw and her family are amongst those affected. The landlord of the duplex and her say the fire started after a cigarette butt was left in a planter.
It was the neighbors and the neighbor's cigarette and the neighbor's planter, and the fire spread very quickly to our side as well.
This is a video of Shaw's house on fire sent to us by a neighbor. You can see the whole front porch in flames, filling the air with plumes of black smoke. When you look at it right now, what kind of goes through your head in the daylight?
Oh, I just kind of hold my breath and shake my head. I mean, it's overwhelming, and it is just very sad.
The Spokane Fire Department sent a press release saying both fires were put out quickly, but the damage was too extensive. One of the fires also spread, causing exterior damage to a neighboring Gonzaga student household. A spokesperson with the school says the university will provide housing and dining services to those 6 students affected. Since the fire, Shaw's oldest daughter set up a fundraising page for her mom and younger siblings. In just the last few days, the page has already raised over $2,000.
Fires are devastating, and they ruin people's lives, and they take everything. We're just picking up the pieces and want to raise awareness that this can happen to anybody, and how to be more careful.
SFD says if you smell smoke but don't necessarily see anything, you're still encouraged to call and report it to the fire department to avoid anything from potentially sparking up. In Spokane, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. It's been a busy week across the Inland Northwest, and we want to help catch you up on some stories you might have missed.
Less than 2 weeks after Governor Bob Ferguson signed the millionaires tax into law, opponents are now bringing it to court.
This tax is bad law, and it's also bad policy, and it's going to harm people economically.
Jackson Maynard's the executive director of the Citizen Action Defense Fund, who filed the lawsuit alongside several other Washingtonians. It's a state-based legal nonprofit aimed at holding government agencies and officials accountable in following the state constitution. As Washington's first ever income tax, it imposes a 9.9 tax on household income above $1 million per year. It also expands tax breaks for small businesses and low-income families. The law goes into effect on January 1st, 2028, and the state would start collecting taxes in 2029. Maynard argues the law's requirements don't follow the state constitution.
And if you're only going to tax certain segments, it's repeatedly been held to be unconstitutional by the state Supreme Court. And then the other thing is, if you're going to apply it, it has to be capped at 1%.
Supporters argue it's about saving billions in state revenue to go towards money for schools, healthcare, and public safety. An advocacy coalition who helped get the income tax passed, Invest in Washington Now, shared a statement in response to the suit, saying in part, "At a time when many of us are struggling to afford the basics, mega millionaires and extremist groups are trying to hurt millions of Washingtonians by taking away the biggest state tax cuts they've received in many years." We reached out to Washington State Representative Natasha Hill as well as State Senator Marcus Riccelli from Spokane for comment about the suit. We're still waiting to hear back. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Well, House Bill 913 will require Idahoans to prove their community engagement, such as working to get or keep their Medicaid coverage. So if people cannot comply or prove, they could be denied.
This is just another accountability measure to make sure that they're the able-bodied adults are either working, becoming educated, or volunteering and providing that service to society.
Lawmakers say those requirements include working, volunteering, or getting an education. Experts with the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network say they estimate this new requirement could cut between 20,000 and 34,000 people.
It's not because they don't qualify. They're doing the right things. If they're on Medicaid expansion, they already meet the income qualifications. This is just bureaucratic red tape.
One Coeur d'Alene doctor says these work requirements can't be decided in a silo. People often rely on Medicaid during life transitions, like losing a job.
Often this is our hard-working group of patients that sometimes bad things happen and they just end up on Medicaid short-term or transient.
She adds more administrative requirements can create barriers.
Adding paperwork, barriers, administrative burden as the check in the system may not actually get the outcome that we want.
And a local lawmaker tells me Medicaid is essential, but says as the program grows, this bill ensures accountability and could help keep the Medicaid program more stable with its growth.
The expansion population is for able-bodied adults. And so the whole thought there is if you're able-bodied, you should be doing something. And I think there's a lot of value in like dignity of work.
Representative Jordan Redmond says he feels confident Governor Little will sign the bill, while some doctors and lobbyists hope Governor Little reconsiders, possibly vetoing the bill. Now, the Idaho legislative session has wrapped up, which means Governor Brad Little has until this coming Tuesday at 5 p.m. to decide on this bill. If it is signed into law, those community engagement requirements would kick in no later than December 31st, 2026 this year. For now, I'm reporting in Coeur d'Alene, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
After 6 years of reserve duty in the military, Tim Shaw became the commander for American Legion Post 143 in Post Falls. As the largest post in Idaho, he says their mission to help veterans and their families takes many forms.
We hold car shows, we have 4 meals a week, we have a veteran service officer that helps these guys get benefits.
But now Shaw says his focus is not only at home, but also on what's going on in the Middle East. On Wednesday, it was announced members of the Idaho Air National Guard were deployed for the Iran war in the last few weeks. This is a part of Operation Epic Fury, which was initiated by President Donald Trump to eliminate threats from the Iranian regime. Idaho's 124th Fighter Wing is in what is called the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility. Right now, it's not confirmed where the troops are stationed or how long they will be there.
They're picking probably specific units for specific reasons to be deployed over there because they have certain skills that maybe other units might not have.
Sean says the deployment didn't come as a shock to him, and that despite differing opinions on how the war came about, it's important to show support for those overseas.
This is the job of the U.S. military, is to be prepared for moments like this.
As everyone at home waits to hear more information about where exactly the airmen were sent, Shaw acknowledges the fear families of airmen may be facing. He advocates anyone needing help reach out to his post or other organizations across the state that help those in the military and their families.
Any time a warrior has to go do his job, it's scary for everybody involved, for families and wives and children and the guys going out. But it's the job that has to be done.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Hello, I'm Cody Proctor. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News. You're watching the Week in Review, where we bring you some of the biggest news stories of the past week.
I used to do cross stitch, and he said, "Oh, you need to learn how to quilt." And no, I don't want to do that. He goes, "You got to try it." I like the creativity. I like being able to make something out of nothing and taking a perfectly good piece of fabric, tearing it up into little pieces, and making another perfectly good piece of fabric.
This is Jody Frederick, and she's no amateur.
Oh, for a day or two, or 40 years.
It's a hobby for Jody.
I'm a big procrastinator, and it's a great way to procrastinate. Put a book in on my Audible and just kind of go away for a couple hours.
But her procrastination has turned into motivation.
Pat called and we met, and she told me what her plan was and said, "Oh, and then I'll have to find someone to quilt it." And I go, "Well, I can do that. I've got all the equipment. I can do that."
The plan? Crafting a quilt in remembrance of Kaylee Jade Gonsalves.
My daughter was a student up at U of I, and she was, I think, 2 years ahead of the girls.
The quilt will be gifted to Kaylee's parents.
Anything that can give them some comfort, I would be more than happy to do that for them.
Stitch by stitch. Pattern by pattern.
I want them to cuddle up on the couch and think that Kaylee's giving them a hug, that it's just her being with them.
And in May, Kaylee Jade Dahlia Day. A day to remember, heal, and meet the grower of the Kaylee Jade Dahlia, which is what inspired this beautiful quilt.
To me, it kind of looks like how the dahlias are, all those beautiful petals, and then it kind of spreads out.
Members of the Dahlia Society from all across the country sent in blocks of the quilt.
She'd give me blocks, and I would trim them up, square them up so they all fit together, then decide how to do the layout, and then just sew them. Like I said, it's not about me, but I'm thrilled that I have a talent that I can use to help somebody else.
Jody's message to the Gonsalves family.
I am so sorry for your loss, and I hope this brings you some comfort.
Oh, my sweet Madden. So she is my first niece, watched her be born. I moved here to be closer to them. She is everything.
That bond is unbreakable for Courtney Thompson. But one phone call in 2023 almost changed everything.
She called and said, "Can you please come back? Madden fell and I don't know if she'll be okay."
Her 7-year-old niece fell headfirst from a second-story window in Olympia and was rushed into surgery at Marybridge Children's Hospital.
She ended up with a plate and screws in her leg.
A fractured femur, but Madden survived.
It is a miracle, it is incredible, and we know that we are lucky. We're looking at a big issue that's 100% preventable.
An average of 33 children are treated at Marybridge each year for window falls. More than 25% of those cases come from 5 zip codes, 3 of which are in Central Pierce Fire and Rescue's service area. Courtney is the fire department's lead public educator and is partnering with Marybridge to protect other families.
The only way this could have been a better story is if there had been window stops before.
She'll be at the Washington State Spring Fair this weekend and next, helping families install the life-saving devices.
There are a few different types of window stops. These are the 2 that we are providing to our district. This actually will drill into the side.
There's another type of window stop that is simple to use and just as effective. All you do is open it like this, then you're gonna peel off the protective layer and simply stick it to the window. You're gonna add a second window stop, and look, you aren't even able to open it.
It's not going anywhere.
Just a few inches can save a life. And for Madden, now 10 years old.
She's glad that she's okay, of course, but she just thinks it's really cool that we're going to make sure it doesn't happen to someone else.
In Puyallup, Madeline Carter, King 5 News.
Welcome back. Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we want to remind you that you can get the latest newscasts and weather forecasts anytime on KREM 2 Plus. It is free to watch and download for Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Now here's one more story before we go.
Well, 14 million miles. That's what this new exhibit here at the MAC is being dubbed. It's celebrating 50 years of Bloomsday. I mean, that is an absolutely monumental achievement, half a century old. You can even find interactive activities such as this one right here. They've got these little note cards inside of the exhibit with the little runners on the back asking you questions like Bloomsday wouldn't be Bloomsday without. Of course, you fill in the blank. You can finish that sentence and find other stories as well. So there's lots of cool things, even including every single finisher shirt dating back to the 1970s. Lots of cool artifacts as well. You got to come out, check it out for yourself and find out why this is the largest road race here on the West Coast. It's going to be open until May 3rd, which is race day for Bloomsday as well. But again, so many cool stories, so many cool things you can come and check out for yourself. And speaking of all of those memories, there's photos dating back to the 1970s, every single finisher shirt. And the ultimate takeaway from this exhibit is to showcase the rich history of Bloomsday and the impact it's had here in the Inland Northwest.
I think when they started this in the 1970s, no one had any idea that this thing would grow to what it's become. So it's a real point of pride for the city of Spokane, super exciting. And we're just happy to be able to tell part of that story here at the MAC.
Well, yeah, right now there's nearly 28,000 people signed up for the race, and as the big day gets closer, Bloomsday officials tell us that's a higher number than what they saw at this time last year. They're hoping they can only see those numbers rise as race day gets closer. But as for this exhibit, it's open during regular MAC hours, and admission is included with museum entry. You can find it inside of the Helen South Gallery. Again, I highly recommend you come out, check it out for yourself, and then you can share your stories as well about what Bloomsday means to you. For now, though, reporting here in Brown's Edition, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Keep it here on KREM 2 for more news throughout the weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.